All right, let's talk about the next huge leap in artificial intelligence. For a while now, we've had AI that can answer our questions. But what if it could actually achieve our goals for us? Well, that's the massive shift we're diving into today, AI agents. So, what's the big difference here? You see, the AI most of us use every day, it's passive. You give it a prompt, it spits out a response, you have to hold its hand every single step of the way. Agentic AI, on the other hand, is autonomous. You just give it a goal, and it figures out all the steps to get there, all on its own. It's really the difference between being a bricklayer, carefully placing one brick at a time, and being a director, who guides the entire performance. It's a huge shift from just following instructions to understanding intent.
So how do these things actually work? To really get it, we've got to pop the hood and look at the three core components that make up an agent.
Okay, first up, you've got the brain. This is the large language model, the LLM, that we're all getting pretty familiar with. It's the central command, the reasoning engine. It's the part that does all the heavy lifting, all the thinking, processing information, and deciding what to do next. But, a brain without a way to interact with the world is, well, it's pretty limited. And that's where the hands come in. These are the tools, things like APIs, different functions, or databases that let the agent actually do things in the world, beyond just talking. It can search the web, pull up company data, or even shoot off an email. And finally, you need something to connect the brain and the hands, right? That's the nervous system, or what we call the orchestration layer. This is the process that's running the whole show. It manages the agent's memory, and it makes that really crucial decision. When should I stop and think, and when should I use one of my tools and act? So we have the brain, the hands, and the nervous system. Let's see how these parts all work together in this continuous loop to actually get things done. This whole cycle, which is run by that orchestration layer, is actually super simple, but it's incredibly powerful. It's just think, act, and observe. First, the agent thinks. It looks at the goal and comes up with a plan. Then it acts. It picks the right tool for the job and carries out that first step. And finally, it observes what happened, adds that new piece of information to its memory, and then it just repeats that loop over and over until the goal is complete. This right here is a perfect example of an agent's inner monologue. A user asks, hey, where's my order? Instead of just giving a generic answer, the agent thinks and forms a plan. It says to itself, okay, first I need to figure out which order they're talking about. Then I need to use a tool to track that package. And only then can I actually report the status. It's that kind of multi-step independent thinking that really makes these agents so powerful. Of course, and this is important, not all agents are created equal. Just like with any other tech, they exist on a whole spectrum of capability. And we can kind of break that down into a few different levels. Right at the bottom, level 0, you've just got the core reasoning model by itself. Think of your standard chatbot. Yeah, it can explain things, but it has zero connection to the live outside world. At level 1, things start to get interesting. This is the first true agent. The brain gets its hands. It can use a tool, say a search engine, to get live information. So now it can tell you the score of last night's game. It's finally plugged into the real world. At level 2, we get strategic. This agent isn't just doing one thing. It can break down a really complex goal into smaller steps. For instance, if you ask it to find a coffee shop that's halfway between your office and a client's, it knows it has to first use a map tool to find that midpoint and then use a search tool to look for coffee shops right in that specific area. And that brings us to what's happening right now, the frontier, level 3. At this point, we stop trying to build one giant super agent that does everything. Instead, we build a team of specialists. You have a project manager agent that takes a big goal, like launching a new product, and then it delegates all the specific tasks to other agents, specialists in market research, marketing, or even web development. It's a system that looks a lot like how the most effective human teams work. So we've walked through what agents are, how they work, and what they can do. But let's get to the bottom line. Why is this such a big deal for you? Here's the key takeaway. Agents are an absolute game changer because they don't just automate a single click, they automate entire complex workflows. This moves AI from being just a passive tool we use to an active collaborative partner we work with. And that changes everything, from how we build software to how we can create entire teams to tackle big business problems. This quote from the source material just absolutely nails it. We're not talking about just a slightly better automation tool. We're talking about creating a whole new kind of teammate, one that's super efficient, incredibly adaptable, and can collaborate with us to get things done. This technology is moving so fast, and it's just blowing the doors open on what's possible. So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. If you had one of these autonomous AI teammates starting tomorrow, what's the very first complex, multi-step task you'd hand over to it? The answer to that? That might just be the future of your work. Thanks for tuning in to this explainer.